What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Wave. I'm your host, Coach Andre, and today we're shifting our focus to the New York Knicks. We'll break down everything you need to know about their offseason outlook, from a recap of the 2024-25 campaign to a deep dive into their roster, contract landscape, and draft assets. We'll also analyze their salary cap situation, spotlight key areas for improvement, and explore what moves the front office could make as they look to push deeper into title contention. Hey, look, listen. Whether you're a lifelong Knicks fan or just intrigued by NBA roster building, this video will get you up to speed on New York's current trajectory and what to watch for as the offseason unfolds. Let's go ahead and get started. The 2024-25 New York Knicks season was a campaign defined by bold moves, statistical leaps, and the tantalizing sense that the franchise was on the cusp of something bigger. For much of the year, the New York Knicks looked like a team ready to break through to the NBA Finals, powered by a blockbuster trade and the emergence of a true superstar duo. The Knicks opened the season with high expectations with a solid core, but it was the early October acquisition of Karl-Anthony Towns that truly transformed the trajectory. Swapping Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo for Towns gave New York the dominant big man it had lacked in recent playoff runs, instantly raising their ceiling and both ends of the floor. With Towns in the fold, the Knicks offense reached new heights. They had an offensive rating of 118.5, which was 5th best in the NBA, up from the 7th rank they had from the previous season. They were ranked 9th in points per game with 115.8, which was a major jump from their 19th rank in 2024. In terms of three-point shooting, they averaged 36.9% from the field, which ranked them 8th in the NBA. With the acquisition of Towns, the Knicks were able to apply floor spacing, opening up lanes for Jalen Brunson and the supporting cast. They bolstered a plus 4.2 net rating, which was also ranked 8th in the NBA, reflecting a team that consistently outperformed opponents over the course of the season. Karl-Anthony Towns averaged 24.4 points per game and a career-high 12.8 rebounds per game while shooting 42% from deep, providing the Knicks with a reliable second star and a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses. Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson, who ascended to true franchise player status, averaged 33.2 points and 8.8 assists in the postseason, often carrying the offense with Towns as his ideal pick-and-pop partner. While the offense soared, the Knicks defense remained solid, if not elite, finishing 14th in defensive rating with 114.3. OG Anunoby's perimeter defense and Josh Hart's relentless rebounding gave the team a tough, scrappy edge. In the playoffs, New York's defensive identity was a key factor for some of their major wins. Their Game 5 win over the Pacers, holding Indiana to just 94 points on 97 possessions, was a showcase of locked-in, connected defense and timely shot making from Brunson and Towns. Towns posted his best offensive playoff series of his career, averaging 25.4 points with a true shooting percentage of 64%. Despite the regular season surge and moments of brilliance in the postseason, the Knicks' flaws were exposed at the highest level. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Indiana Pacers exploited New York's transition defense and forced the New York Knicks into costly turnovers. Towns' defensive shortcomings, especially in high leverage moments, became a focal point for criticism, as did the team's inability to string together stops when it mattered most. The Knicks ultimately fell in 6 games, falling just short of their first finals appearance in a quarter century. The Cat trade was a resounding regular season success, raising the team's offensive ceiling and giving Brunson the co-star he needed. Looking at the advanced stats, they tell a story of a team that became elite offensively, improved its ball movement, and maintained a top 10 three-point attack. Defensive inconsistencies and Towns' playoff struggles on that end leave lingering questions heading into the offseason. Still, the Knicks' run to the Eastern Conference Finals, their best show in 25 years, positions them as a legitimate contender moving forward. The 2024-25 Knicks were a team reborn by a blockbuster trade and the emergence of a superstar duo. Their advanced stats reflect the group on the rise, and with a full offseason to address defensive issues and build chemistry, New York enters the summer with momentum and a sense that the best is yet to come. Hey, you loving these Knick deep dives? Don't just watch, join the conversation. Drop your thoughts on the New York Knicks season in the comments below. Was the Cat trade a game changer? What's your take on their playoff run? If you enjoyed the recap, hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a breakdown. Want more Knicks and NBA content? Check out our playlist for our offseason previews, player analysis, and more. Join the Wave community and connect with fellow diehard fans. Let's keep the Knicks talk rolling all year long. Looking ahead to next season, the Knicks roster is a steady and high-priced star power, defensive versatility, and the kind of depth concerns that define the margins between a finals run and another near miss. the front office face a pivotal summer, balancing luxury tax realities with the urgency to capitalize on a championship window that's open right now. The projected starting five of the New York Knicks is described to be elite, expensive, and built to win. First, we have Jalen Brunson, the Knicks engine and All-NBA leader, coming off a career-best season and a dominant playoff run. Brunson remains the team's fourth quarter clutch shot maker and offensive orchestrator. Next, we have Mikal Bridges. The versatile wing, acquired to raise the team's two-way ceiling, brings durability and defensive length. While his scoring at times was up and down, his ability to guard elite wings remains invaluable. Then there's OG Anunoby, the Knicks defensive stopper and one of the NBA's best perimeter defenders. Anunoby is a glue guy who can swing a playoff series with his versatility. His health and shooting consistency will be closely watched. Next is Josh Hart. Josh Hart is the ultimate utility player. He's an elite rebounder, secondary playmaker, and emotional heartbeat of the locker room. Hart's relentless energy and adaptability make him indispensable, especially in the postseason. Finally, there's Karl-Anthony Towns. The blockbuster addition, Towns delivered All-NBA third-team production and gave the Knicks a true inside-out scoring threat. His playoff defense remains a question, but his offensive gravity is central to the team's identity. A few key guys include Mitchell Robinson. When healthy, Robinson is a rim-protecting force and elite offensive rebounder, but persistent injuries have clouded his future and made him a potential trade piece. Next is Miles McBride. Emerging as a trusted backup guard, McBride's shooting and defense make him a valuable rotation piece on a team-friendly deal. And in terms of young prospects, the Knicks have Tyler Kolek, Pakome Dadie, and Ariel Hukporti. Of course, these young guys are expected to compete for minutes, and Kolek's playmaking and Dadie's wing potential are especially intriguing for a team needing bench production. In terms of a bench, the Knicks' depth is thin, with several veterans such as Cameron Payne, Delon Wright, Landry Shamet, and Precious Achiuwa hitting free agency. In terms of roster strength, there's no lacking star power on this team. Few teams can match a core of Brunson, Towns, Anunoby, Bridges, and Hart, all under contract and in their primes. Another strength is their defensive versatility. Anunoby, Bridges, and Hart give the Knicks the ability to switch and guard multiple positions, a must in deep playoff runs. The Knicks also have a strength on the rebounding side of the ball. Hart and Robinson, if retained, ensure the Knicks rarely lose the battle on the glass. One key area of concern, though, is their depth and flexibility. The bench was exposed in the playoffs, and albeit they didn't get to play a lot of minutes due to rotational concerns, the team's cap situation of nearly $200 million committed leave little room for upgrades outside of minimum deals or taxpayer mid-level exceptions. Of course, there's always the injury concern. Robinson's health, Towns' playoff defense, and Hart's heavy workload all raise questions. In terms of trade assets, most of their first-round picks are spent, and with so much money tied up in the core, big moves will require creativity. And in terms of the trade market, the question will be, will the Knicks move Robinson or a rotational piece to bolster depth or acquire another scorer? Another key area of concern is Mikal Bridges' extension. Bridges is eligible for a major extension, and the question will be if the Knicks are deciding if they want to pick that contract up or not. The Knicks entered 2025-26 with a championship caliber starting five and a front office willing to spend to win. The challenge? Building a bench that can hold up in May and June, and making the right tweaks to turn a conference finals into a finals breakthrough. The window is open, but the margin of error is razor thin. The next move could define the era of New York Knicks basketball. In terms of draft capital, the New York Knicks do not own a first-round selection in the 2025 draft. Their own pick was sent to the Brooklyn Nets as a part of the Mikal Bridges trade, and they do not have any incoming first-rounders from other teams for this draft. In terms of the second round, the Knicks hold the 50th overall pick, a late second-rounder. This is their only selection in the 2025 draft and comes via trade. The Knicks also had a second-round pick rescinded by the NBA as a penalty for tampering in the Jalen Brunson signing. The Knicks have also traded away several future first-round picks, including the 2027 first-round pick, 2029 first-round pick, and their 2031 first-round pick. They also have a pick swap in 2028 as a part of the Bridges deal, and their incoming firsts from Detroit and Washington are protected and unlikely to convey this year. They retain various second-round picks in future years, but their ability to add young talent through the draft is limited in the short term. With no first-rounder and limited draft capital, they'll need to rely on free agency, trades, and internal development to bolster their roster this offseason. In terms of salary cap, the Knicks are well over the projected 2025-26 NBA salary cap of $154.6 million, with guaranteed salaries already totaling around $194.4 million for 11 players. The team is also above the luxury tax threshold, and they're also projected to exceed the first apron by roughly $4 million. In terms of the second apron, they remain $8 million below that, but any significant additions could push them over that line, triggering even stricter roster building restrictions. Knicks cannot sign free agents outright for more than the minimum or the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is projected to be $5.7 million. Being over the first apron restricts their ability to take back more salary in trades, prevents use of the biannual exception, and limits sign and trade options. If the Knicks do cross the second apron, they lose access to the taxpayer mid-level exception and face even harsher trade restrictions. The Knicks are projected to pay a significant luxury tax bill, which exceeds around $38 million for the 2025-26 season. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the team needs. A backup wing or forward would definitely be helpful for the New York Knicks. A versatile defender who can play the 3 or the 4 would be a great addition for the Knicks. Also, a reliable backup center is also in consideration. While the 2025 free agency market is still taking shape, here are the type of players and some names who could realistically be available for the taxpayer mid-level exception. There's Royce O'Neal, a veteran 3 and D forward who can guard multiple spots. There's also Taurean Prince, a stretch 4 with playoff experience. There's Jae'Sean Tate, a physical defender and an energy guy. And also Derrick Jones Jr., an athletic wing and a switchable defender. In terms of guards, there's Tyus Jones, a steady backup point guard. Of course, there's Dylan Wright and Landry Shamet, free agents coming off the Knicks. And in terms of bigs, there's Jackson Hayes, an athletic rim runner. He would be a perfect fit for the backup center role. Then there's Tristan Vucevic, a stretch big if available. And finally, there's Sandro Mamukelashvili, a versatile high motor big. The Knicks are locked in the high salary, star-driven core for the 2025-26 season and will operate above both the salary cap and luxury tax lines. They have minimal flexibility to add outside talent, limited mostly to minimum contracts and the taxpayer mid-level exception unless they shed salary via trade. The front office will need to be creative to upgrade their roster while managing the league's new, stricter financial rules for high-spending teams. In terms of the trade market, the New York Knicks entered the 2025 offseason as one of the NBA's most aggressive and expensive contenders, but their options on the trade market are shaped by a top-heavy payroll, limited draft capital, and a clear need to upgrade their bench and tactical flexibility. In terms of key trade assets and limitations, first is Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell is widely viewed as the Knicks' most logical trade chip. His $13 million contract is affordable and expiring, making him attractive to teams needing rim protection without long-term commitment. Robinson's injury history and offensive limitations have led to speculation that the Knicks could move him for a backup guard, wing, or a young prospect. Of course, we can't leave Karl-Anthony Towns out of the question. While not actively being shopped, Towns' massive contract and playoff defense struggles have led to speculations about his fit. He could be involved in a blockbuster trade if a true superstar like Giannis or Kevin Durant becomes available. In terms of young prospects, Pacome Dadie and Tyler Kolek could be included in deals for bench upgrades, but are more likely to be developed internally. While unlikely, I thought there were a few blockbuster trade scenarios that would be interesting to take a look at. First, it would be Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Knicks are frequently linked to Giannis, but any deal would require a massive outgoing package like Towns, OG Anunoby, or Mikal Bridges, and the few remaining tradable picks. Such a trade would almost certainly need a third team to facilitate salary and asset movement, and there's no indication the Bucks will move Giannis unless he requests a trade. Again, there's Kevin Durant. A hypothetical deal could see Towns sent to Phoenix, with the Knicks landing Durant and a salary filler, and a third team like Washington to facilitate. Durant's fit is debated, but his contract is shorter and easier to stomach than Towns. Now let's take a look at some realistic, impactful trades. Obviously, we spoke about this, but Mitchell Robinson for guard help. The most plausible move is trading Robinson for a young, cost-controlled guard such as Keontae George or Jordan Clarkson, and/or a veteran big for depth like Kelly Olynyk. This would help address the Knicks' lack of playmaking and bench scoring and improve their financial flexibility. In terms of trades, the Knicks are in a tough spot. Any trade for a star would require breaking up the core, as the Knicks can't simply add salary to their books. Now let's take a look at the front office and coaching. The Knicks' leadership landscape is anything but settled as they navigate this new chapter. While Leon Rose leads basketball operations, his tenure has been defined by a willingness to swing for the fences, sometimes to a fault. The franchise's boldest move, like the acquisition of Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, have undeniably raised the ceiling in New York, but the approach has also raised eyebrows, with the front office that at times seems more enamored with flashy headlines than with the steady, patient work of building a sustainable winner. The decision to part ways with Tom Thibodeau after the team's deepest playoff run in decades is the latest example of the Knicks' all-or-nothing mentality. While some see it as a sign of ambition, Others question whether the front office's appetite for risk is outpacing its sense of stability. There is a growing sense around the league that the Knicks leadership is determined to prove they're not just content with progress, they want to leapfrog straight to the top. But with every bold move comes the risk of overplaying their hand. Entering this pivotal offseason, the Knicks are searching for a coach who can bring more than just intensity and grit. The ideal candidate will need to balance the urgency of a win-now roster with the patience to nurture emerging players. Tactical flexibility, modern lineup management, and the ability to adapt under pressure will be essential. The front office is looking for a leader who can command respect, inspire confidence, and deliver results when it matters most, but one who could also temper the organization's tendency to chase the next big move. The Knicks front office is ambitious and unafraid to shake things up, but its boldness comes with risk. The firing of Tom Thibodeau was a statement move, not a setback, a recognition that the team is ready for a new voice. With a roster built to win now and a leadership team that's never afraid to roll the dice, the Knicks are poised to make a leap. But to become true champions, they'll need more than just star power and headline-grabbing moves. They'll need a coach who can bring out the best in every player, and a front office that knows when to be bold and when to be steady. Now let's look at some X factors and wild cards. First, we have OG Anunoby's two-way emergence. Anunoby's transformation into a true two-way threat has been a game changer. Over the last 2 months of the season, he averaged over 22 points per game while holding opponents to just 31% from deep when he was their primary defender. His ability to maintain this level of offensive aggression and elite perimeter defense could be the difference between another deep playoff run and disappointment, especially against teams like Boston that rely heavily on the three-point shooting. And next is Karl-Anthony Towns' health and consistency. Towns' left knee issues flared up in the playoffs, raising concerns about his durability. His scoring and rebounding are elite, but his defensive lapse and health will be under the microscope. If Towns can stay healthy and deliver consistent two-way play, the Knicks' ceiling raises dramatically. If not, the team could struggle to match up with the NBA's best frontcourts. Now, what's the outlook for the 2025-26 season? Let's be honest, the Knicks are no longer just chasing the ghosts of their 1970s glory. They're standing at the threshold of something real. Unlike so many franchises stuck in perpetual rebuilds or nostalgia, New York has built a core that's ready to contend right now. The front office has been bold, aggressive, and willing to spend. But the pressure's on to turn those investments into banners, not just headlines. Heading into the 2025-26 season, the Knicks are firmly in win-now mode. The foundation, Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart, is one of the league's most talented and battle-tested starting five. Their run to the Eastern Conference Finals, powered by elite defense and timely shot-making, prove they belong among the NBA's elite. But the margin of error is razor thin. The East is deeper, more versatile, and less forgiving than ever, and the Knicks can't just rely on heavy minutes and grit to get over the hump. This is the year where the New York Knicks front office must think several moves ahead, whether that means finally addressing their glaring bench issues, exploring creative trades with their few remaining assets, or finding the right role player to complement their stars without bursting through the second apron. The organization has shown it's willing to push all in, but now it's about execution. The bottom line is the Knicks have urgency, a championship caliber core, and the resources to make another leap. But until they can prove they can evolve, New York will remain on the knife's edge between a long-awaited finals breakthrough and another so-close heartbreak. Knicks fans deserve to see the front office play chess, not checkers, and give the city a team worthy of its ambition and history. And that's the full breakdown on where the New York Knicks stand as they enter one of the most pivotal off-seasons in franchise history. The team boasts a star-studded core all locked in and hungry for a finals breakthrough. The Knicks have proven their willingness to spend and be aggressive, but now it's about turning those moves into banners. If you enjoyed the deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode of The Wave. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which move should the New York Knicks make, and who do you think is the true X factor for the New York Knicks next season? I'm Coach Andre, and you're watching The Wave. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.